All right, good morning. Let's go ahead and get started. My name is Eric Williams. I'm the Director of Provider Development here at DBHTS. And my first job today is to explain why we're here. So as you may have heard, we are moving the regional support team process into the waiver management system. And today is designed to give you a preview and a walkthrough of the module features so that you can begin to understand how the process will change once it's in WaMS. I'd like to start by sharing some of what we perceive to be the benefits of this change. So we definitely think it's going to increase the manageability of the process all the way around. So the RST referrals, the Virginia Informed Choice Form are built out in the system. So you'll be able to log in and fill those things out electronically. We also think it's going to ease communication. So it's going to ease communication between the CSBs and the department staff. It will also ease communication with the actual regional support teams as they prepare to review the referrals that are coming in. It will improve our data capabilities. So it's going to make managing the complexity and the volume of data around RST referrals easier. And it also provided us with the opportunity to refine the process. So you'll notice today that there have been some updates made to some of the content and some of the elements as we go through. And then once you get in the system and start using the module, you'll notice that as well. I will quote one of my favorite people, Ashley Painter. She said, change can be hard until you learn it. And it should not be a steep learning curve for this. Hopefully it's intuitive and feels natural for you. All right, so in terms of rollout, what we are planning for is to go live on November 21st. And so beginning November 21st, the system will be up, but you as a support coordinator and your CSB can have a discussion about how and when you begin using the module. We do have a full adoption date of January 1 of 2023. That means after that date, all RST referrals will need to be submitted through the waiver management system. Between November 21st and December 31st, you can kind of make a decision about how much you use the system as you get used to it, but beginning January 1st. And that will enable us to pull third quarter data directly from WaMS at the end of the third quarter. So that will be after March. All right. So I do want to take a second and just say thank you. Say thank you to Chesterfield, Norfolk, Prince William, and Fairfax if you're on the call. We appreciate the time you put into testing the system, and you know, we hope that this is going to be helpful for you. So now I'm going to hand it over at this point to the two folks who are going to walk us through. So Dee Dee Thomas is our WaMS administrator. She's going to tell us how things are done. And Ashley is also going to assist with content related questions. We do ask that you stay on mute. If you have questions, drop them into the chat window. We will be producing a FAQ document following the session tomorrow. And so we will get the FAQ out to everyone. And we will try to, if we have time, take a couple of minutes and answer some questions today. All right, without further ado, I'll go ahead and hand it over to Dee Dee.
Good morning, everyone. And one of my favorite sayings is, change is good, even if it's a nickel. So to go along with Ashley, once you get into the system and learn it, you'll find that it's pretty familiar with the way you're used to doing things. So Ashley, I think I need your assistance. We've got a couple of scenarios that we want to go through, and I'm going to show you how to do it in WaMS, and Ashley's going to talk us through it.
Absolutely. Good morning, everybody. So I'm going to go ahead by setting the scene for us for what's going on with our first person. So our first person is currently living at home with their mother with in-home support services provided. Their mother is aging, and they have decided that they are interested in exploring residential homes in the surrounding area. So the support coordinator, the mother, and the individual are reviewing local providers and are going to start setting up tours. And it just so happens that one of the providers that they're interested in is a 5+ bed residential home. So that triggers an RST referral. So Dee Dee, if you want to take it away and show us how we would start that process, that would be great.
Sure. First of all, I am logged into our UAT environment. So all the information that you see here is not real. So the first thing is I am logged in as the support coordinator for the City of Virginia Beach. And I am going to go to my People tab so that I can look for the individual that we need to do the referral for. And the person that we're looking for is Cruella DeVille. So I'm just basically going to type in the first name and do a search. And there's Cruella. So I'm going to click on summary. And as you can see, I am now in Cruella's WaMS record. Now, the first thing that you should know is before you can actually do a referral, you need to do the VIC. And the VIC is located under screening and assessments. But let's say you forgot, you go straight to referral. If you go to programs, which is where the referral form is, you would select RST referral form. And you have a create new button right here. So if I click on create new, it says, wait a minute, you can't do it without doing the VIC form. And notice also it says the VIC must be completed within 30 days of creating an RST referral. So one of the things is that every time that you get ready to do a referral, you need to do another VIC, even if a VIC has already been completed. So with that being said, I'm going to go back to my screening and assessments and choose VIC from the list here. And just like all the other forms, you have a create new button. So I'm going to go ahead and click on create new. And you should be pretty much familiar with this type of form and the way it looks. It's the same as the ISP, where you've got the different categories. And of course, you've got your complete circle here. You also have the buttons at the top where you can submit, you can discard, and of course, expand all just expands the entire form. And then of course, the collapse all. Now you can, once you have created a VIC, you can discard it, but once it's been submitted, you will no longer be able to remove that VIC from the system. So what I'm going to go ahead and now do is click on my edit button for the very first section. And by the way, you do have the overview section, and it will tell you what the status of the VIC is, what who you logged in as, and also the date, which is today's date. So I'm going to go ahead and click on edit. And the first thing is, does this person have a SDM? And I'm going to select yes. And Ashley, we can go ahead and you can.
Yeah, absolutely. So this particular person has a mother who is their legal guardian. So you select legal guardian, and then you're gonna type in the guardian's name. So Madeline DeVille.
So does this person have a SDM agreement?
No, this person doesn't have an SDM agreement, but they do have waiver. They actually have the CL waiver. So
also you do have the no DD waiver there as well. So you've got the 3 waivers plus the no DD waiver. Okay.
All right. So these are the questions directly from the Virginia Informed Choice as you know it now. So has the individual been provided information and for the Center of Family Involvement? Yes. If yes, do they need assistance? They don't need assistance right now. And, you know, I also provided them with the ARC information when we were talking, and they don't need assistance with that right now either. But again, you would answer these questions in the situation that you're involved in. And they also have the information about My Life, My Community. So which is the primary reason for the referral? So again, another drop-down box pretty easy, but please take note that there are some additional reasons for a referral in there now. So these are all the referral reasons that exist. So again, for this particular situation, we are choosing move into a group home of 5 or more. All right, so we already know that when I was talking to them, I talked to them about sponsored group homes. So residential DD waiver options. I talked to them about sponsored. I talked to them about a 4-bed group home, and I also talked to them about 5-bed group homes. So I selected all the options that I reviewed when I was meeting with them and completing this form.
Now, of course, you can select some other options as well. And as you select each of the options, you can see you will get additional options that would need to be selected as well, right? All right, anything else, Ashley?
Nope, that completes that part.
All right, then up at the top, there is the save button. So we now need to save this section. And one of the things that you'll notice is the status now says in progress. And we now have a complete circle for the first section. We can now go to the second section. Click on edit. And one of the things that we selected previously was the residential DD waiver options, I believe. Ashley, is that right?
Yes, you're right. So remember on the first page when we said we talked about and we offered a sponsored. So here is your place to document informed choice was provided by entering the service provider. So you offered sponsored residential services. And then you're going to type out the agency's name. And then you're going to enter your county where the agency is located. And select it again, a drop down. So you just start typing that county and then pick. And this was, the size of this is size 4 or fewer because it's sponsored. And this, in this particular situation, it's not been selected yet. It's not located near the family, but it was reviewed as an option. So what you would do is in that describe selected or not selected, that's where you're going to tell me the reason. All right, so that's one of the options that we review with them. So I want to document informed choice. So I'm going to go ahead and talk about what else I offered. So we're going to add a new agency considered. And this time I talked to them about a 4-bed residential home. So a group home. We're going to again list the agency. And again, the county. And this was my 4-bed option. So 4 or fewer. And this one also wasn't selected at this point in time. And the reason for this one was because they didn't have a walk-in closet. And that was really important to me. All right. So again, we're documenting informed choice. So I'm going to add the other agency that we looked at. So this time we looked at another group home.
Hey, if I could type, I would be really dangerous.
It's hard. It does have spell check.
That's true. Thank goodness for that.
Yeah, and again, going through the process here, we typed out the agency's name. We went ahead and typed in the city or county. This group home was a 5+ bed. Yep, so we looked at it, we reviewed it. I didn't select it either because it just wasn't close enough to the restaurants that I enjoyed. So, you know, when we were talking about it, it just, they let us know that it just wasn't close enough to their favorite spots. So we're gonna review another option that was in my locality. So we are again gonna add a new agency considered.
Now notice you also have a remove button. So once you've added one and you need to remove it, you can always go back and click on that remove option.
All right. So again, this was another residential group home. All right. City and county. This was also a 5+ bed. And you know what? This one was the one that they liked. They let me know that the bedroom was on the main level. It was close to my favorite shops. And it's also 10 minutes away from my my family and my natural supports. So this is the one that I want. All right. So now that we've documented informed choice that was offered, we can move on to the next section.
And of course, you have the other options as well, just like you did in the other screen. So I'm going to go ahead and save here. And you can see that section is completed. And now I go to my signature section. If I click on edit, we of course have the signer type here. We've got the person, the substitute decision maker. And in this particular form, you'll be able to either select the person as a mandatory field and the support coordinator, or the substitute decision maker and the support coordinator. So in this instance, I'm going to go ahead and select the person. We're going to choose written signature on file and go down here and print the name. And the date signed. We're going to just select today's date. And then of course you need to click on the add new button. And then we go back to select the support coordinator. Same situation. And add new. Now, since these are two of the required signatures, and again, I could, instead of having the person here, I could have selected the substitute decision maker. But you do have to have at least 2 of those signatures there in order to complete that particular section, the signature. So I'm going to click on save. And you can see I'm now have all 3 sections completed. And I need to submit, because otherwise the status is still going to stay in progress and I'm not going to be able to complete my referral until it's actually submitted. Now, remember, you are able to discard this one if you needed to start a new one, but you can only discard before you submit. Once you submit it, you're not going to have that discard option. I'm going to go ahead and click on submit now. And you can see the status is now submitted. I'm going to click on my back to list and you can see the information here. If I needed to go back and view the VIC, I can click on view here and it takes me right back in. All right, Ashley, you ready to move on?
Yeah, let's move on. So we did the VIC. So now we're ready to complete the RST referral form.
All right. So I went to programs. I'm going to choose RST referral. And I'm going to click on create new. All right, we have our overview section. And we also have a delete button. And you, again, same situation, you can delete the referral only up until you submit section 1. So the first section 1 is to be completed by the support coordinator. And you can see that you don't have any options to create anything else other than you can add a form note and you can upload the attachments. So I'm going to go ahead and click on edit for section 1. And as you can see, certain information has already been completed for us. It already knows the living situation. It also has the current residence information, as well as it pulled in information from the ISP part 1, describing Cruella's life she wants and life she does not want. This is an editable field, and you can go in here and make additional changes as you need to. We also have the referring agency, and now we need to go in and select the region. And is this region 4 or 5?
They're 5. Region 5.
Thank you, thank you. It also automatically pulls in the support coordinator's name, whoever is logged into the system, and their telephone number. But again, these can be changed. And of course, you have to fill in the rest of this information.
Yeah, so just like the current RST referral form, we are asking for your contact information, your supervisor's contact information, so that they can be included in any correspondence that we might have via email. Right. Again, you're going to enter the desired city or county that the individual wants to receive services in. And then it's going to automatically put the region that city or county is associated with. All right. So now we're moving on. Which one of the following emergency criteria is primary? In this particular situation, there is no emergency criteria that apply. But again, you do have the option to tell us that you feel like this is an urgent situation for any of these reasons. Which one of the late criteria currently applies? In this particular situation, there is no late criteria because no move has happened, and I'm doing this within 5 calendar days of presenting. So we're in good with late criteria. Is this a community CSB referral? Yes, you guys are all working for the CSBs, which makes it a community CSB referral.
Now notice when you select certain answers, you will get additional drop-down lists. So if you select no here, you can see that list goes away. So pay attention as you are going through your referrals, which is nice because you don't have a whole lot of information out there all in your face. You can see only the things that are relevant to the options that you're selecting.
All right. So select the CSB referral reason. So again, this is move into a group home or 5 or more individuals. So we're going to select that one. This is related to a residential move. And I'm going to select the move-in date. Yep. Is this date estimated? We currently ask you guys that as well. If you have a move date that's already set and you know it's going to happen, put it there. But this is this could be an estimated date. Like the provider's ready, but they're working on some things, so they believe it will be around December 1st. So select that, and you can say yes or no, it's estimated or not. So select whatever's most appropriate. Is there a financial support limiting access to resources? Again, this is very same question from our RST referral form. And in this particular situation, the answer is no. This individual doesn't have any financial restraints to moving forward, so that all the other stuff will disappear and go away. Are there any concerns with transportation? No concerns reported with transportation, but if you did select yes, you would describe the concern, right? And then we get to the question of, are more integrated services for fewer being considered? Yes, we did. We considered those. We offered them and reviewed them. So this is where we would put that we did look at residential DD waiver options of more integrated services, and we looked at sponsored services, sponsored and group home 4 or more. So you select one. So we'll go with, were there any barriers? There were no barriers to that at the time. And then we're going to add a new service because we also looked at sponsored. So select DD and then sponsored residential services. And there were no barriers when we reviewed that either. But if there were, that's where you would have typed what the barrier was to accessing sponsored. You just free text and tell us what that barrier was. All right. Is there difficulty locating a less integrated service? In this particular situation, the answer was no, but you do have the option to select yes and then tell us what less integrated service you were having difficulty locating. Now, this question right here, provide information that you think is helpful to RST. On the RST referral form, this is the section where you would have written your summary. And that's what this section is here. It's a summary. So this is where you tell us everything that you would have told us on the referral form. You just are going to type it here. So you could tell us that this is where you would have typed out that Corella and Madeline expressed to the support coordinator that they were interested in reviewing residential homes in the surrounding area. You can type in any support needs that they might have. Again, this is your area to tell us anything you want us to know.
All right, so the last thing is to sign the form, and it automatically pulls in the date and save it. So at this point, your referral has been started and you will now need to submit it to the CRC. So I'm gonna go ahead and click on submit, and notice the status changes to pending CRC review. So at this point, I'm going to put on my CRC hat and I'm going to log in as the CRC. So I'm going to log in as Renita. And I automatically have pulled up in the Corella's referral, but in reality, she would have to go to her My List and find this particular referral in the system, and then she'd be able to pull it up. So at this point, you can see the only thing that she has access to is the section 2. She's got an edit button here. So as the CRC, I'm going to go in here and I'm going to say, well, nope, it's not an emergency. But if I did choose yes here, I could then save it and then submit it to Ashley so that she can schedule the emergency meeting. But I'm going to say no here. And does the CRC have recommendations to resolve?
Yes.
All right. So at this point, the CRC will put in the recommendations. Ashley, what does Renita say?
Renita said she really wants you guys to check out a sponsored home. And she's also going to give you the phone number and contact information of who she wants you to check to see if it would be a good fit. Because she reviewed that referral and she thought, I think this might be somebody to check out.
And at this point, if there's any additional recommendations, you can type them all in. And at this, once completed, we're going to go ahead and click on save here and submit. So what happens now is Renita has now submitted it back to the support coordinator, and you can see that the status changes to pending submitter review. Support coordinators are considered the submitters. So I'm going to go ahead and log back in as the support coordinator. And I was logged in as SC staff 2. And by default, I'm automatically pulled into this only because I was already in there. And so I'm just basically working, but in the reality, you would come into the homepage. So how would you find Corella's referral one, obviously you can go to the people and search if you know that you need to go specifically to that particular referral, or you can go to your alerts tab and you will receive alerts based on what has happened in the system. And you can see that an RST form is waiting for review. I can click on go here and you can see it's from Renita. The other way you can do it, find your RST referrals is to go to my list, and there's an RST referral form here. So you would select it and you could say, show me all of the RST forms that are in pending CRC review, all the various statuses that we have available. You can also say, show me all the RST forms that are in the entire CSB. So this first one is only those are for the support coordinator that is assigned for their individuals. The second one, all RST forms, is for all RSTs in the entire CSB. I'm going to go ahead and select this option, and notice you've got the other options as well, types of referral, emergency meetings, etc. And I'm going to click on filter here. And because this one, well, I'm actually not sure why this one didn't pop up. I have to look at that.
Change your status.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
It should be pending submitter review.
Uh-huh.
I knew there was a reason for that. That was a test.
There she is.
There she is. I'm going to go ahead and click on view here. And that's going to take me right back into Cruella's referral. So at this point, as the support coordinator, you need to go into edit section 2. And you need to answer this question. Here, you check out what were the recommendations. And after following those recommendations, you could either say yes or no. If I say no, I would have to go in and describe the reason. And of course, you're going to say, yes, I did follow those recommendations. Yes. And did this recommendation resolve the barriers or concerns? If you say yes, yeah, no, they didn't. But if they did, then you can actually close the referral at this point. But in this particular instance, nope, they did not resolve. And what was the reason, Ashley?
We went ahead and talked to Corella and Madeline about that sponsored, and they signed a release and set up a tour, but it didn't resolve at this point.
And at this point, you've typed in your reason why you still have some concerns, and I'm going to go ahead and click on save here. And you can see the section 2 is complete. I'm going to click on submit. Submit takes us back to RST requested. The actual RST has now been requested, and Ashley now takes over from here.
Yeah, so you guys sent it straight to me after you followed up on the CRC recommendations. So the referral has come to me.
So I'm going to log in as Ashley and click on login here. And Ashley's going to go into the recommendation tracker. So now I'm Ashley.
All right. So I've got your referral now, and I'm going to assign it to a team for review. So in this particular situation, I'm going to go ahead and put you guys in team 5. And I'm going to give you a meeting date. I think for this one, we have to select today, maybe.
Yes, for today. But typically, it wouldn't be on today's date.
In reality, it's going to be the monthly meeting or the cross-regional team meeting date for the month that it falls into. But for testing purposes and to show you guys this, we're going to pick today.
So the meeting has now happened.
Yes.
It's
so
over.
Yeah, you guys, it's happening just the way it always does. I will have sent you guys notification of your call-in time, or if you got pulled for cross-regional team and we're going to review it. You guys have called in, you have presented your case, the meeting has taken place. I am now, after the meeting, giving you the recommendations from RST. So in this particular situation, RST recommendations said, we like the CRC's recommendation, and we want to make sure that they have the opportunity to look at that sponsored home.
All right, if there are any additional recommendations, they will be selected here. But I'm gonna go ahead and remove that one.
Yeah.
All right. Ashley, we've got this last question here. Are there more integrated residential options?
So no, in this particular case, no.
All right, and I'm going to go ahead and click on save and submit. So you can now see the status change to pending submitter closure. And at this point, I will log back in as the support coordinator. Then of course, we go back into the recommendations tracker and you can see all of the recommendations there. I'm gonna click on edit here. And here is where you would type in the actions taken and the outcome and the date completed.
Yeah, so in this particular scenario, we did tour that recommended sponsored home, but they continued to decide that they really wanted the 5+ bed group home that they liked. So we looked at it, we looked at the option, they want the 5-bed group home, and the support coordinator also let me know in this final disposition section that the move date for the 5+ bed group home is set for 12/1.
Anything else?
No, we put the date that you completed this in there.
And now we're going to save it. All right, then the last thing is I'm going to go into the final services selection and add the date here.
Group home 5 or more.
Sponsor resident. Oh, yeah, sorry.
No, it's the final disposition. So it's group home 5 or more.
Thank you. And
then you guys can make any additional comments that you want right here. So again, if you wanted to go ahead and say the name of the provider and the move-in date, you can just type the free text that in the bottom.
And save it. At this point, all the sections are complete. Again, you've got the options to add form notes. Form notes will allow you to go in and add a note to Ashley or any of the CRCs. And then Ashley can respond back to the notes and you'll see all the notes here. You also have the ability to upload attachments. This works just like all the other forms in WaMS. And then we also have a workflow history. So you can at any point go into the workflow history. Once you submit that first referral to the CRC, it's going to start tracking the history of everything that happens all along the way. All right, now that we've completed all of everything, it still is not considered closed until it's submitted. So we're going to go ahead and click on submit. And now you can see the status is closed. If I go back to list, I have the option or status here as well. All right, Ashley, that takes care of the first scenario. And I think we have one more scenario that we want to go through. We've got about 10:42. It's our time.
Yeah, I was gonna say we have about 10 minutes.
So I'm going to go ahead and look up the second individual, which is Chip Potts. And Ashley, if you want to go ahead and talk quickly about this scenario, yep, so we can go ahead and get started on it.
Yep. Okay, I'm going to set the scene for you guys. So Chip was taken to the hospital where he received a REACH crisis assessment. REACH determined the hospitalization could be avoided and that the individual could be supported at the REACH crisis therapeutic home. So Chip agreed to services with REACH and with the CTH and agreed to the admission. That admission took place, but during the first week's weekly discharge call meeting, Chip was informed that could no longer return back to the family home. So the support coordinator began working with the REACH team on a discharge plan, and they really started focusing on Chip being able to live independently with supports provided in the home. So that is our situation.
All right, and so we've actually already created the VIC, so that part is done. And the next step would be to go ahead and create that initial referral form. So I'm gonna go ahead and click on create new and go to section 1 and start completing the information.
Right. So again, with this one, there's no emergency right now because the individual is being supported at the REACH crisis therapeutic home, and there's no late criteria. It is a community CSB referral, and this one meets criteria because they are at REACH without disposition. Right. It is going to be related to a residential move with a move-in date. You know, it's kind of unknown, so we're going to estimate it again. And it was estimated. And there's no financial barriers right now. No concerns with transportation. Are more integrated services being considered? Yes, they are. I think it's important to know that Chip has an FIS waiver. So we're going to look at residential options. And we're going to look at supported living. So we're going to add that service.
Are there any barriers?
Oh, there are the first program that we looked at. No, there are no barriers with service.
Okay.
Yeah. And we're going to add another one that we looked at. And it was another supported living program. So residential, supported living.
Oh. We're going to have to look into that one.
Yep.
We want to select something different here.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead and look at shared living.
Okay.
All right. And the barrier with this one is that there was an interview scheduled. All right. And was there difficulty? No difficulty locating a less integrated service. And again, the next section is where you write your additional information.
All right, sign as the SC and save it and submit. Again, I'm going to go in as the CRC. Recommendations are here.
Yes, the CRC had recommendations to work with regional housing on application, with your housing coordinator. They wanted you guys to also consider if there were other family that CHIP could live with.
And we're going to go ahead and save it and submit. So now I'm going to log back in as the support coordinator. You have received an alert that the CRC has given you some recommendations. And after reviewing those recommendations, I'm going to go ahead and click on edit. There it is. And we can say, yes, the recommendations were followed. And
it didn't resolve the barrier.
Okay.
No.
All right.
We're still at the CTH.
What is it?
CTH, Crisis Therapeutic Home.
Thank you. You know, those acronyms.
We like them.
I'm going to go ahead and save it. And of course, submit. Hopefully this process is making sense as I'm going through it. And you can see RST is requested. So I'm going to log in as Ashley. And Ashley's going to go into the recommendation tracker and assign it to a team and schedule the meeting.
Yep. So again, same thing. We've had the meeting. You guys have presented information. We are ready to give you recommendations. And we had recommendations, and we told you to keep working with the REACH program on discharge, and also to consider 2 other sponsored living providers, and we gave you contact information.
Yeah, information.
Yeah, we put it all in there for you.
Yep. And we're going to say, whoops, got one more. And notice one of the things the system won't allow you to do stuff if you haven't answered all the questions.
Yeah, so you can put no there.
And now save it. And lastly, of course, submit. And again, it goes back to the support coordinator, foreclosure.
Yep, so you guys got the recommendations.
And now you're ready to put in your actions and outcome.
Yeah. You guys got them, and you say, yep, I did everything that you asked me to do.
Date completed and save it. Again, final selection, services selection.
So the final thing that happened and what you're going to report back to RST is that Chip was accepted into a supported living program, and you're going to give us whatever date he's going to be moving. Check supported living. There you go.
And save it and submit. And it's now closed. Again, we've got the workflow history. You've got where you can upload attachments. And again, the notes is a great way to communicate back and forth. And I don't have anything else to show. Unless you tell me I need to.
No, we went through the process two times. And that's kind of how it flows, what it looks like.
All right, then I think we can maybe have a little bit of time to go through any Q&A or.
All right. Do you want me just to select some from the chat?
Yep.
Okay. All right.
Let me know if there's something I need to share or show.
Okay. So there's a question here from Jason. Why would you need a no DD waiver option under selected waiver if this is being completed? We wouldn't need a VIC unless they were being selected. So I know something we didn't touch on today is that some of the new content that you'll find once you get in there and start using the process is that we've added to the VIC community resources outside of waiver services. So there are things like, give me some examples, Ashley.
There's SRAP and housing voucher. There's faith-based resources. There's CSA funding. So there's a whole list of community options, but I think it's also really important to remember that RST is not only for individuals with DD waiver, but also individuals who meet criteria for the settlement agreement who meet RST criteria too. So those individuals would also be receiving RST referrals and don't have a waiver. So you would need to show what you'd looked at for them as well.
Right. So if they're in the target population for the settlement agreement, and this process also had to accommodate DBHDS referrals. So not all referrals come from CSBs. So there will be an ability for the department to complete some of the referrals in WaMS in the same manner that CSBs are completing. All right. Let me see. There were some questions about the signatures, about signing. So we are going about this the same manner that we, providing the same guidance that we have for the ISP, which is the option that you would select is signature on file, and you could have a separate signature document instead, in lieu of putting the signatures directly in the system. There's a question about, do we have to do both? And this is from William. I thought we were trying to reduce work and not double it. So, my recommendation is that you work with your supervisor at your CSB to make a determination about how your CSB is going to make the transition prior to or on January 1st of 2023. So, you have the option. We don't expect you to do a paper process and a WaMS process. It's one or the other. So if you're going to do a referral in WaMS, you do not need to do it on paper. And we recognize that for the second quarter of FY23, we're going to have some referrals that were submitted through the manual process and some that were submitted through WaMS, and we will just have to work with the data for that quarter to kind of tell the story, because it's a period of transition. See if we have one more. Will the VIC appear? Oh, there was a question here about do we have to do the VIC for everyone or just folks with an RST referral? And right now it's only required in the system for people who have an RST referral. So you do not need to do the VIC in WaMS for everyone else. Okay. All right, so we only have a couple of minutes left, so we'll go ahead and wrap up. As I mentioned, talk with your supervisor and discuss at your CSB what your plans are in order to transition. We hope this has been helpful. We will be providing a user guide by the 21st. So you'll have something in print that you can print out and use as a guide for using the system as well. We will take our the Q&As that have been entered between today and tomorrow and produce a document and get that posted on the website. So thank you everyone for being here today, and thank you to Dee Dee and Ashley for walking us through. We appreciate it, and we hope you have a good rest of the day.
Thank you all.
Thanks, guys.
Bye-bye.